Welcome to the latest episode of the Lisa Pezik Show. Today, I'm so excited to get into this, talking about closing your ears to the noise that's going on, especially for females in business right now. Oh, don't launch anything. Don't be trying to sell anything. Let's wait till the election is over. Put a freeze, put a hold, hunker down in place, and don't let business go on. Those are the words of the death of your business. And today, I could not have a more interesting woman on my show with me today. A fellow Canadian from Toronto, Dana Pharant is in the house. Dana, so glad you're here. How are you?
Ooh, after that intro, I'm like ready to go run a marathon or something. You got me so pumped up. This is awesome, Lisa.
Oh my goodness. Let me tell you about how awesome Dana is in this first line. Let me just hold on to your chair right now if you're sitting down. So having built a 7-figure business without sales calls and as a former dominatrix, Dana knows all about owning her power and being unique. She's worked with clients for over 25 years, helping them keep their head out of their ass. Yes, that's what she wrote. So they can scale with ease. She is the author of 5 books, winner of multiple awards, and a woman who treats her own personal development like an extreme sport. Oh my God. That's the best bio ever. So let's dive in right to the piece that probably made everybody's eyeballs go, whoa, I don't know anyone who was a dominatrix in my life before. It's so cool.
Or at least they didn't tell you.
Or they didn't tell me. That's very true. Tell me about how you got into that, and were there any lessons from that carried over into writing books and coaching clients and the work that you do now?
Okay, so hold tight because this is a bit of a story. So how I ended up in it, I had a client come to me. So at the time I was a massage therapist. I had a client come in and she disclosed that she was involved in the kink world. That's the slang for BDSM. And of course, so we could have open conversations about marks and bruises and not worry about what's going on. And that really sparked an interest for me. I was like, I want to know more. And I kept asking her more and more questions. And eventually I got myself into it as well. And it had the most profound and unusual effect that I didn't expect, in that I was able to actually reenact some of the abuse that I grew up with and create a different outcome within what we call a scene, because we have control over what's happening. And so the ability to change what was happening in my body at a cellular level was so profound that after 2 sessions, I was able to actually wipe out my long-standing depression. I didn't even realize I was depressed until it lifted, and and actually start to feel a sense of good in my, like feeling powerful in my body, feeling good in my body. And because of all my background as a healer, that really prompted me to pick up the whips and learn how to do this craft. And I wanted to take other people on this dramatic healing journey. And so I was involved in that world for about 6 years. And then the other question, the part of your question, does it translate to business? Absolutely. In fact, the book that you can see behind me, the red one, the Become a Badass in Business, talks about all the lessons that I learned in that path of becoming a dominatrix on both sides of the whip, and how that translates dramatically into business. And particularly, I think for women in business, but it applies for men as well, in that it's about changing who we are internally so that we change how we show up in business. And then that, of course, changes our results. So it is all about the embodiment of that energy that, for me, I feel is just such an incredible gift for people.
That's so beautifully well said, because I believe there's a stereotype when it comes to you hear, oh, someone's a dominatrix. Oh, she just wants to like power over men, or, you know, and you so beautifully explain that, how it was taking back, rewriting your stories and taking back your own power. And I love the two gems of beauty in that. One, it was unexpected that you got into it. How many times do we let our judgments or our worries or our fears stop us from trying something new? And number two, it helped you see things, like you said, your depression, and it helped you uncover things that you didn't know you had. And what a unconventional way to heal yourself. And I think the world, we've been shifting that way for a while, where we've been moving away from just popping another pill, or, you know, healing and inner child work and body work and, you know, meditation, and all of this, especially now in this time, is really coming to light. So it's kind of funny when you've been ahead of the curve and everyone's just kind of catching up, and you're like, yes, you know, I've been doing this you know, for a while. A lot of times we do go back, and when we have that ability to rewrite our stories or tell our stories even, we can heal ourselves. I love that.
Absolutely.
I love that. So tell me about the work that you do now. So what does that look like with clients? What do they come to you for? Because when you say take back their power and be a badass, and again, those are terms that have such a broad meaning. So what are the blocks, or what are the issues that people come to you for?
So I find, you know, there's always that piece of like, what people come in for is rarely what the real root of it is. So what prompts them to take action is one of two things. Either they have hit a slump in their business. So let's say they've been doing 100 or 200,000 a month in sales, and then all of a sudden it flips and they have like 3 months in a row, you know, around 60 or 80. That's a dynamic, like, whoa, what the WTF moment, right? Like, what's going on? And what they start looking at is like, okay, maybe I need to change my mindset. Maybe I need to look at what's going on internally. And so they'll reach out for that reason, to kind of spark the business to come back up. The other thing that I find people prompt, you know, to reach out is that they know that something's missing. So either they're just not getting the results. They know that they're brilliant. They're getting, you know, they're doing six figures, maybe multiple six figures, but it's like, why can't I scale to 1 million? Or if they've already scaled to 1 million, 2 million, you know, 8 figures, then it's like, well, now what? Kind of that spiritual crisis. And so it all comes down to realizing that the systems are not the thing that needs to be changed. I need to look within, and I need to get there in you know, short order. So I'm a real big one for, you know, get in, get out, don't mess my hairdo. I don't want to be, you know, doing therapy for like years and years. So it's get in, find the root, change it, and get you back on track. And that's where people reach out to me.
And do you find the root really has nothing to do with business? It's like that phrase of, you don't have a business problem, you have a personal problem that's
yes,
over into your business.
Absolutely. It shows up in business. So we talk about, you know, holding our power. One of my favorite clients that I worked with, she had a dramatic dip in her income. And we started to really look at, okay, what's going on, and drilling into the root. And where it really came down to was this one key employee that she couldn't let go of. And that key employee needed to go. She was ready to go, but there were all these reasons why she wouldn't fire her. And it's rooting out all of the reasons that were keeping this person stuck. Now, once she got that person out, then she could see everything else more clearly. And that's the thing. We remove the actual cause, and then all the other symptoms either clear themselves up or become easy to fix.
I love that you said that so much, because people don't. They're like, I don't want to open Pandora's box. I don't want to go deep. I don't want to deal with the emotions that come up. But I love that you said, once you get to that pattern, that one or two or whatever that root cause is, everything else. So it's initially probably hard and sucky to like uncover that, but then everything else works for you and falls in line.
Yeah. And Lisa, here you hit a really great point that we have this resistance, and it's like, oh, I don't want to go there. It's going to be hard. It's going to be emotional. You know what? Your life sucks ass right now. So, like, can we just be honest? It's not comfortable right now. And this is where I really hate that phrase, the comfort zone phrase drives me crazy. There is no comfort zone. You are not in a comfort zone. You are in the discomfort zone. You need to get out of it. For me, I call it in my book, I call the comfort zone the piss-soaked bed. It's warm and squishy initially, and then very quickly it stinks and it's cold, and you need to get out of it. And that's the thing, is that you have made up this lie that it is going to be hell to get out of it, when it's just a matter of popping out of it. Like it's do that tiny bit of work. Maybe the emotional piece is like 15, 20 minutes of feeling your feelings, and then it moves. When you have someone to hold the space for you and to actually let you drop all the way in, feel all of it, it is dynamically faster than you think it's going to be. But if you resist it, it'll be there for years, I promise.
I'm just like taking a second to let the comfort zone is the piss-soaked bed sink in.
Good.
That is so true. Oh my gosh, I love that you said that. That's so true, because what are some of the phrases people say when they're in their comfort zone? I'm doing good. I'm doing fine. Things are all right, but they could be worse. Right? Yeah.
It's not so bad. Right? Like it's all that meh kind of feeling.
Yeah.
And it's not the alive feeling. And this is the thing, is that when you are stretching yourself, when you're like going for something that you're aligned with, and here's the thing, when you're going for a goal that you're aligned with, it lights you up. It fires you up. Yeah, there's some challenge, but it's like that, that marathon piece where you hit that wall, you move through it, and then boom, it's like you're just in a rhythm. And this is the thing with our business, is that when we actually clear out our crap, that's that wall, we clear out the crap, then we can hit that stride and just be like, yeah, this is awesome. It's cool. Bring it on.
Yeah. And letting all those things I kind of introed with, they keep you in that comfort zone. Oh, I'm not going to launch. Oh, I better not market. Oh, I shouldn't have this call. I'm not going to do that webinar. Wait till the election's over. Wait to see. Even us where we are right now. My son just got on virtual schooling, and the teacher's like, oh, I'm hearing that we're going back to phase 2. And it's like this, are we in, what stage of the lockdown are we in? And, if you don't take your power and you keep making decisions based on what everyone else is saying, that's a slippery slope as well.
Absolutely. And that, to me, I see that as this piece where we haven't been fully taught to really value our own inner knowing, our own intuition, our internal guidance system. And we look to experts, and this is where so many people, this is my beef, that so many people end up buying into courses and, like buying the latest whatever system, you're one funnel away from 2 commas and, like all of those little, what I'm talking about. But, that kind of hype, when we haven't stopped to say, is this the right fit for me?
Oh, yes.
And of course, we know that the vast majority of people that sign up for those things do not hit anywhere near the promised figures.
I remember for me, it was so simple as, I remember when those books, You Are a Badass, was coming out. And I love how you said you treat your personal development like an extreme sport. I do as well, which is why I think we connect.
Love it.
Like, there's so many ways that we connect that I love. And I remember it's like, you got to read this book. 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 And I was like, what's the book about? Like confidence and they were like, yeah. And I was like, I'm good. Like, that's not, I had done so much work, and I had slayed that dragon, and I had read a bajillion books on confidence, and I was over the hump. I had climbed that mountain, and everyone's like, you got to read this, you got to read this. And I said, that book doesn't really apply to where I am right now in my life. I had money mindset issues. That was like my next thing I had to, retell that story and rewire. And I said, I got to go read books on that. But so many times people say, yeah, you going to this conference, you're reading this book, you checking out this thing. You got to aim your personal development at the problems or the things, the solutions that you want in your life. So I love that you brought that up.
Yeah, thanks. I love that it's like, no, just because everybody's reading it doesn't mean that it's for everybody. I mean, most of the time when people are saying, oh, this is a fabulous book and everybody's reading, it's a bestseller, usually I pick it up and I'm like, meh. I read Jen Sincero's book. I loved her writing. Like, I will give her kudos.
Yes.
She's a great writer, great storyteller.
Yep.
Were her techniques anything? Wow, no. But you know what? What's great is that she brought it to the masses. She brought some awareness to the masses. So for anybody to say, just like you, right? If somebody says, oh, well, read that. And I'm like, that's what I did 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Thanks. It was a fun read, but
yeah,
I have to follow what's where it is for me. Now I do crazy things now. I'm doing like the psychedelic plant medicines. That's my latest extreme sport.
Wow.
Yeah. Talk about, you should join me.
I love how you push the boundaries on things.
Totally.
Like,
yes.
That's not living in the piss-soaked bed, right? The boundaries on... It's such a freeing thought when you're like, where do I want to go? Because anything's possible. I had that flip probably about a year ago. The culmination of like a decade of personal development and being in this world and multiple businesses and getting my butt kicked just in life and, healing things. And I had that flip from... who am I? Or, oh, that'd be nice, to why the hell not? Anything is possible. Absolutely anything. And I think what people don't realize is that you have to do that work first.
Yeah.
In order to be so free and be so open and know that no matter what, you have options. You can get into doing something, and if it's not right for you, you can get out and try something else. We're so quick to stay pigeonholed in, even when people describe who they are and what they do in business, it's like they're reading it off a teleprompter, right? And I'm like, does that, what you said about like what lights you up, does that actually light you up in what you're doing? Are you excited to tell people about what you do? Or did you get into this business because you were good at it or someone told you should?
Or you thought you'd make a lot of money at it.
Yeah, right. 100%. Those expectations, you don't have that internal why that everybody talks about. It's true, but I take it one step deeper, and that internal why helps you see the possibility. Yes, it grounds you in why you do what you do, but I think especially now, everyone's, it's gloom and doom, and 2020 sucks, and I'm looking back at 2020 going, 2020 was a blessing. 2020 was a gift. 2020 kicked butt. I made the most revenue, and I don't say that to brag. I'm sure you're probably the same. It's like my business exploded in 2020 because of the solutions that you could provide.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen in 2020. That was the culmination of a crap ton of work that manifested and came to fruition.
Yeah. And you refuse to believe that there was anything wrong with you. And that's the thing, is that culmination of everything that you've done allows you to step in, like you said, step into that possibility. And this is the thing, is that, we can see, oftentimes, we can see what people are doing, and it's like, you can see why that would work and how that would work. But if you don't have the alignment internally, you're going to put up those roadblocks. You're going to put up the resistances. You're going to have stuff going on. I mean, 2020 was a blessing for me as well. Not in the same way. This has not been the financial year for me. 2020 has been my year of healing. It has kicked my ass, but I've been grateful. I've only been able to work about a third of the time, but I'm still pulling in over six figures, working a third and not really doing promotion, if the podcast like this. So for me, it's still a huge blessing because I can relax and trust that the universe will bring things to me because of all the work that I've done. Because of all the promotion that I'm letting it flow, as opposed to pushing and shoving it all the time.
I love that. I feel like 2020 was like take what you need in
Yeah.
that really, like you said, that going inward, really looking at as we come into 2021, are we going to bring the stuff from 2020 in, or are we going to take what we need to finally heal and move
Yeah.
cleaner on the things that we need? So go back to, we both are talking about how 2020 for you it was healing, for me it was income, it was the fruits of our labor.
Yes.
You can go back to the very beginning. What did you do to tell? Because if we got listeners going, well, these two ladies sound like they're kicking butt. Here I am feeling like it's going to take me a decade to get to where they are. That's the whole point of why we share, right? We want to fast track and help people get it quicker. What were some of the things you did in the beginning that really helped you get to where you are now?
I wouldn't actually go that route, because what I've learned has allowed my clients to have accelerated progress. So I wouldn't go back to what I did, because that's now slow. What I would really suggest is hire someone like myself. If you don't hire me, hire someone like myself who can help you drill into the core pieces. So for a lot of people, trauma is, if you have any kind of trauma in your past, sexual, physical, otherwise, you need to be addressing that so that it gets down to like the very root. And when it gets down to the very root, you feel a sense of forgiveness automatically. So that's an indicator. So if you don't have that, if you feel anger towards people easily, you probably haven't fully healed that trauma. The other one that comes up again and again with people is this sense of, I'm broken, I'm messed up, there's something wrong with me. And I call it the addiction to the wrongness of you. And that plays out over and over again. So when you're addressing that, instead of looking at all of the symptom pieces, which is usually like money and relationships and all that other stuff, you start drilling down to these core pieces. That accelerates what you're doing. So you don't need decades. I've taken people on a 6-month journey and gotten them through what I would say is 20 years worth of therapy in 6 months. That's the power of what has shifted in what I've learned and the world and consciousness and all of the things.
Oh, I love that. Same for me. My life changed when I got a mentor, when I got a healer, when I talked to a therapist, when it's like when you allow people in, when you stop suffering in silence and you stop letting, what are they going to think of me? Your ego, right? Your ego can protect us, but your ego can be the worst of you, right? Of what are they going to think of me? I can't share those secrets with someone. The shame and the judgment and all of those things. That was, I remember what my mentor said to me, what got you here isn't going to get you there. So he was saying, you've always had to figure it out on your own. You've always had to fight. You've always had to provide for yourself. You've always had to stand up for yourself. Now you got to let people in. You got to let people help. And I agree with you 100%. The things I was able to do in 3 months, 6 months, traumas and things from decades, from 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I was able to heal in 6 months and life got easier. So yes. I am like proof of exactly what you just told our listeners. And I love that because I find in business, people are always looking for the next strategy, the next marketing plan, the next system, the next, what website should I use? What should I build my funnels in? What ad? And if you don't take care of, you call it the core pieces. If you don't have someone help you with those core pieces, it doesn't matter what strategy or marketing funnel or system you have.
No, because you'll do something to sabotage it. And it's not, and I don't say this out of like, if you're listening and this is you, like this is not a wrongness. It's to step back and go, okay, if I continually sabotage, that means that I'm not addressing it in a way that's going to move it. So there's nothing wrong with you doing that. It's just the methods you've been using are not addressing the real issue. And so switching it up, rather than spending the money on the next system or strategy, take a moment, redirect that funds into what is going to change at the core so we can build a stronger foundation for you to go for.
I agree. I've been doing so much partner work with people like yourself because people come to me and we have this initial call and they're like, I want to build this course. I want to build this membership. And then we start kind of talking about it. And I hear all the pieces of sabotage come out, all their worries, all their fears, all their thoughts. And I've been actually saying, go talk to my friend Dana, go talk to this person, go talk to Jen. I have a couple friends on speed dial. And I'm like, you have to, I really would recommend that you work with them first. That way, when it comes time to build, we're building clean and we're building smooth and fast.
Because if you don't have that resistance, then it goes, you implement. And this is the thing, is that when we let go of the core pieces, we also tend to let go of our need to control things. And then we can hand it over to somebody like you and say, okay, you've got this plan. All right, good. Run with it. Here, what do you need? Let me get you everything you need for you to do your job. That's really a huge piece. And if you want really fast, come and talk to me about the plant medicines, because that's...
I think I need to have you back on another podcast. Just all about this.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness. So last question, I can't believe time flew. Holy moly. What are you most looking forward to in 2021 or even just like ending this year and transitioning into a new year? What lights you up? What are you really focusing on or looking forward to in this time?
I'm sitting in a place of curiosity. So 2020 has been also a journey for me to let go of control and surrender to like the bigger picture. My work is more on the shamanic side of things, where it's not a set system. It's, following what the energy is. So I'm curious to see what will unfold. I'm definitely looking forward to having more flexibility of being able to open up more of the plant medicine retreats. As things open up, we can have more people, bring my American friends up here and, invite that in. So I think those are kind of the key things that I'm really excited about.
I love that. Well, you've got a freebie for them. Tell them about.
Yes.
Tell them all about it.
Yes. So you can get a free copy of book number 5. And this is Badass Intuition. So it is a 6-week proven system to get you the tools that you need to start trusting yourself, to actually implement. If you follow it step by step, I promise you that you are going to have a killer system for being able to follow what works for you, find out what works for you, and your life and your business will flow with so much more ease. So they can head over to badassintuition.com.
And don't worry if you're driving, if you've got children in your hands or laundry baskets or whatever's going on in this crazy world we live in now. I will put all of Dana's information in the show notes. I will put the freebie where you can get that book in the show notes. So don't worry, it will be there for you. Dana, thank you so much for this amazing conversation. Oh my God.
Thank you.
This is one of my favorites. Just real, raw, to the point, but chock full of things that make you go, right? To go back. And that's exactly my hope in this podcast is maybe it's a strategy that you need. Maybe it's just a perspective shift. That awareness that makes you go, yeah, she called out that thing that I didn't want to say or I didn't want to deal with, but now I know that I can go. I've got people in my corner. You've got myself. You've got Dana. There's community groups. Just reach out. And if it's not us, we'd be happy to connect you with who that right person is to get you through those blocks and to get you healed and building clean and running clean and going into even the end of this year, finishing the end of this year and going into 2021 clean. So that is my hope for you. Thank you so much for being here on the Lisa Pezik Show. Dana, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you, Lisa. It's been a blast.
Yay. And listeners, thank you so much. We will see you next time on the Lisa Pezik Show. Bye for now.